I have never thought of myself as someone who's naturally talented at, well, anything. Growing up, I was never praised as talented. I heard hardworking, I heard smart, or even when I was in second grade, I did pretty well at math, so my parents used to call me a professor for a little while, but talented, or the phrase, "you are so talented," it always eluded me, and I personally just never heard it. And for the longest time, that got me down, because you see, I'm a person, or at least I was a person, who thought everyone had that one thing that they were just born good at. For some people, it's football or tennis, boxing, drawing, playing piano, singing, dancing, or even cooking. And for me, this way of thinking was furthered by being born to a mom who is exceptionally good at design and art, and a father who used to play soccer professionally and is the human embodiment of athleticism. Yet for me, I was only naturally good at playing video games and brainstorming up ideas and acting like an extrovert when I'm really an introvert. So as you can see, there's nothing very tangible there. However, one of the things I've noticed about talent is it's largely correlated with how long someone has been doing something. Because at the end of the day, no one wakes up playing Mozart. It takes time and lots of it, and what people call talent is often a translation for he or she has been doing it since they were a kid. And of course, people who are born with a better musical ear will learn faster. However, that does not prevent others from also getting great at the piano or guitar. It's all about the time you put into something. However, time is something, it's just one of those things that people feel they don't have on their side, since everyone feels that if they wanted to learn something new, they should have started when they were a kid, because by now, they'd probably be quite good at it, and people would probably consider them to be talented. Whew. Listen to what I'm about to say. I think we all would have liked to get into playing guitar or painting or cooking or speaking another language or whatever skill you would want to learn at a younger age. However, it's not too late. As the saying goes, 种一棵树最好的时间是20年前，其实是现在. And I am sure that people will look at me and be like, Ikenna, you can speak 6 languages, like you were just so naturally talented at languages. Yet, I'm the same high school kid that was getting C's and D's in Spanish and thought learning another language just wasn't for me. It was just not my thing. You see, I was only raised speaking English. I never had the advantage of being able to speak other languages that I could reference from. I could only speak one growing up. But one day I was 15 years old and I was lying in my bed and I had the realization that if I'm eventually going to wake up and I'm going to be 20 or even 25 years old, I don't want to wake up empty-handed, wishing that I started to learn whatever I wanted to learn years ago. And that's when I decided to stop looking back at what didn't happen to or for me and start looking forward to what I could do, learn, and accomplish with my own 2 hands, with natural talent or with no talent, and as an adult and a man, no longer a boy. That's around the time when I decided to learn my first language, which was Japanese, and the confidence gained and the fun had learning Japanese put me on a path that led me to learn all my other languages. Nowadays, I do get comments every now and then from people saying that I learn languages easily, or even sometimes they do use that T word. However, they did not see me all those years back when I was struggling in class, when I was doubting myself about Japanese, when I had no clue how to learn a language and was wishing that I was just raised speaking it when I was a kid. They only see me now, after all of this time. Time. That's all it is, disguising itself as talent. You see, the fact that I was able to learn a language actually gave me the confidence to start doing other things, like going to the gym in the hopes that I could put on some muscle. And I was always quite lean and skinny. I was never naturally big like the jocks in high school, benching 225 pounds at 16 years old. However, I wanted to see what I could do. And despite the fact that I'm not really naturally bulky of a person, I still put in the time, and with time came a pretty large transformation. Again, I'm not as big as someone as gifted as Mike Tyson, who at the same height weighed 50 or 60 more pounds than me. However, it doesn't matter because I put in the time and I'm satisfied with my own results. And I don't care if you're 20 years old or even you're 60 years old and you think you can't get into the gym and make a difference, because you can. And here's another thing that I worked hard at and I was able to transform. My handwriting. I have CBH, which stands for Classical Boys Handwriting, which means it's basically garbage, it's trash, it's like you can't even read it half the time. Yet seemingly someone with no talent for handwriting was actually able to transform my handwriting from this to this in a matter of months via practice. Let's look at music. 3 years ago, I set out on my journey to become a music producer, but there was only one little tiny small problem. I never had any experience playing or making music. I mean, for me, I have a childhood friend whose dad got him into guitar and piano and a bunch of different instruments at a young age, and nowadays he can basically play whatever he wants to play. But for me, on the other hand, you know, RuneScape was more interesting than any piano could have been when I was young. So yeah, no experience, no talent, or at least no talent until I discover it. You know, those first months trying to make music and produce music were some of the most challenging and just hardest months of my life. I was no Martin Garrix, making music and DJing since I was 12 years old. I had nothing to build upon. Yet instead of dwelling on, oh man, I wish I learned guitar when I was 4 years old and I started producing music at like 10 years old, I moved forward. And the start sounded like this. Wow. However, last year sounded like this. Je crois pas. I don't think, no, I don't think so. Now, don't get me wrong, I still have so far to go as a music producer. However, surprise, surprise, the T word has already started to pop up. And honestly, I still don't know whether I'm naturally good at music or not, but if I don't try, I'll never find out. And that's the truth in this case, and it's the truth about everything really. No trial, no discovery. So try, or at least put in the time, because the goals you deem off limits because some people somewhere have a certain talent that you think that you just can't have or you don't have, the reaching of those goals are on the other side of investing your time. So this year, for me, my goals, I am channeling my efforts into starting my own fashion brand and designing my own clothes, and also learning how to play piano. And yet again, I am at a place where I don't know how good I am and whether I will end up being naturally talented at it. So far, I can only play one song. However, it's one song more than I'd ever imagined I'd be able to play. As for design, I still have a long way to go. Currently, I'm practicing my drawing so I can do outfit sketches. Now, part of me is wishing for my mom's designer and artistic genes to kick in. However, the other part knows it will work out just fine because it's not too late. I got time, and one day people will call it talent.